When will they ever learn?
Just a gust of wind passed and these humans fell to the ground, motionless. At first, survivors thought the wind carried a deadly virus. However, just as the surviving humans were fleeing in panic, a massive alien warship appeared in the sky above Earth. The story begins with a ridiculous kidnapping. In a large villa in New York, a woman wakes up from her sleep. Her name is Michelle, the executive director of the pharmaceutical giant Oxalith Group. It is said that this pharmaceutical company monopolizes 70% of the global original drugs, covering everything from Alzheimer's to polio, and Oxalith is even involved in some drugs for male health issues.
If the people on your team are from diverse backgrounds, they'll find new and creative solutions to problems rather than just iterating. We need to find the next generation of diverse engineers, diverse biologists, diverse doctors, because it's not just diverse employees, it's diverse thinking. It's about using our corporate resources to empower people of different skills.
Although she possesses billions in wealth, Michelle, who is in her 40s, is still single. Her daily life is very disciplined. Work, get off work, eat, and sleep. Occasionally, she learns kickboxing to exercise her skills. Looking at the bodyguard she knocked down, Michelle stubbornly believes she is a combat expert. However, Michelle doesn't know that a crisis targeting her is quietly approaching. At a bee farm outside the city, beekeeper Teddy and his brother Don are collecting today's honey as usual. However, the beehives that should have been full have pitifully little honey today, not even 1/3 of yesterday's amount, and this isn't the first time production has dropped. In the past few months, Teddy found that the honey in the hives was decreasing every day. It started at just 1%, reached 3% the next day, and within a few short months, honey production fell below 60%. Along with the reduction in honey, the bees in the boxes were also decreasing rapidly. The number of bees in a box was only 20% of the original amount. The consecutive months of reduced production made Teddy sense something was wrong. He suspects that the death of the bees might be related to aliens invading Earth. He looks at his brother eating and decides to start a plan to save the Earth. Teddy is a super sci-fi fanatic. He has always believed that alien civilizations are quietly invading our planet. Although bees seem to be just ordinary insects, they are extremely important to the Earth's ecology. They not only undertake 95% of the Earth's pollination work, but are also the source of natural glucose. If bees go extinct, the entire Earth's ecosystem will collapse unknowingly. Aliens only need to wait quietly in their spaceships to let humanity perish without lifting a finger. Hearing his brother's analysis, Don also feels it makes a lot of sense. But where are the aliens hiding? And how will they invade Earth? Teddy has already set his sights on a target, and this target is none other than the pharmaceutical company executive, Michelle. Teddy has always suspected that Michelle is an alien in disguise. They turn into humans to monopolize human medical services. And all of this is preparation for the invasion. After breakfast, Teddy takes Don to the supermarket. They buy some ropes and tools and start preparing for the alien invasion. Leaving the supermarket, the brothers hide in a patch of bushes by the roadside. Meanwhile, Michelle, who has just finished a meeting, is driving towards her home. Because the new drug sold explosively in Korea, the company's stock soared. She made hundreds of millions of dollars in one day, so the happy Michelle decided to go home and celebrate. However, just as Michelle parks her car, Teddy and Don, who were hiding in the bushes, quietly sneak out. They hide behind the car, ready to hijack Michelle, who has just returned home. Although Teddy was fully prepared, he still underestimated Michelle's skills. With just one encounter, the brothers were kicked away by Michelle. Teddy took out pepper spray to attack Michelle, but unexpectedly, as soon as he took out the spray, Michelle ran away. During the chase, Michelle ran to the backyard. Teddy charged and tackled Michelle into a flower bed, but Michelle was too fierce and broke free from the restraint again. But not long after running, Michelle felt the world spinning. She looked down to find a syringe tube stuck in her leg. Before she could react, she fainted on the ground. Looking at Michelle on the ground, Teddy didn't stay long. He and Don moved Michelle into her car and drove away from the scene. On the way, Don took out a pair of electric clippers and shaved off Michelle's hair. The reason the brothers did this is because they believe aliens have no hair, and as long as the hair is shaved off, they will reveal their true form. However, Don shaved off all of Michelle's hair, but the sedated Michelle showed no reaction. Facing this situation, Teddy still firmly believed that Michelle's disguise was just too good. Back home, the brothers hid the vehicle with branches and then burned all the tools used in the crime. Immediately after, they took Michelle to the basement. Looking at Michelle on the bed, Teddy began to analyze the alien's camouflage.
Overbite, then cuticles, narrow feet, high hair density.
Hearing his brother's analysis, Dawn also thought it made sense. To make Michelle reveal her true form, they brought a milky white cream and applied it evenly over Michelle's body. Teddy said this cream can irritate alien skin. As long as it's applied to the body, the alien will feel an unbearable itch and won't be able to resist shedding its human skin shell. The brothers were busy for over 10 minutes before they finished applying the cream. They even considerately changed Michelle into a set of clothes. Chaining Michelle up, the brothers went back upstairs. They took out precious suits from the wardrobe and started grooming themselves. Just when the two were halfway through their work, the drugged Michelle finally woke up. Before she could figure out what was happening, a blinding flash appeared beside her. Looking at Teddy in front of her, Michelle was confused. She looked up to find her hands handcuffed and even her head shaved. But Teddy ignored her and continued reading a so-called manifesto. He even wanted to ask Michelle which sector's alien civilization she was from. Looking at the crazy Teddy, Michelle was completely dumbfounded. She thought she had encountered a kidnapping and asked Teddy how much money he wanted. At the same time, she didn't forget to warn Teddy that she is the head of a pharmaceutical company. As long as she is out of contact for more than 48 hours, the police across America will be mobilized. If Teddy lets her go now, she can give the two of them a large sum of money. Michelle also promised that she would absolutely not call the police. However, facing Michelle's threat, Teddy just smiled slightly. He also advised Michelle not to resist, otherwise he would let her taste human methods. Hearing Teddy's warning, Michelle was completely confused. She didn't admit to being any alien, and if she were an alien, how could she be kidnapped by them? But facing Michelle's denial, Teddy still firmly believed that Michelle was an alien. The reason Teddy was so certain is that he had previously scanned Michelle's face with thermal imaging, and he found that Michelle's face was full of code.
Primarily, I'm not an alien.
You are. I've done thermal imaging on your face. There's Andromedan code all over your Instagram. You're barely even hiding it. I'm supposed to believe you're a 45-year-old woman? Human woman?
I mean, I follow a very strict reverse aging diet and therapy program. It's very expensive, as you can imagine, but I'm not an alien.
He therefore inferred that Michelle is a disguised alien. Facing Teddy's questioning, Michelle didn't know how to explain. But before she could speak, Teddy brought over a recording device. He told Michelle that if she thought it through, she could record her identity into the machine. He would consider simply expelling Michelle from Earth without harming her life. Before Michelle could recover, Teddy took Dawn and left the basement. She wanted to speak, but neither of them paid any attention to her. Back upstairs, Teddy turned on the monitor, but Michelle was just sitting on the bed crying and didn't turn into a so-called alien at all. Dawn felt Michelle was a bit pitiful and showed an expression of sympathy. Hearing Teddy's reminder, Dawn snapped out of it. The hateful aliens would actually use pity to gain sympathy. After dinner, the brothers returned to the bedroom. Looking at the photos on the tablet, Dawn thought of their mother. It turns out the brothers are also unfortunate people. Their father died when the brothers were young. To raise Teddy and Dawn, who has an intellectual disability, their mother Sandy participated in Oxalith's drug trials. To maximize profits, the Oxalith company actually infected Sandy with a disease and then used the company's drugs to treat her. But unexpectedly, the company's drugs not only failed to cure Sandy, but also caused her to become a vegetable. Although the company covered all medical expenses, Sandy never woke up again. Because of the lack of care since childhood, Teddy's personality became withdrawn and twisted. He became obsessed with alien civilizations, believing that the Earth is being invaded by aliens. And one of his core arguments for firmly believing Michelle is an alien is that, in Teddy's perception, only aliens would use such a vicious method as drug trials against humans. Early the next morning, Teddy didn't rush to interrogate Michelle but rode his bicycle away from home. It turned out Teddy had another job. He went to a warehouse to sort goods every morning. However, when he arrived at an intersection, a police car suddenly blocked him. Teddy thought his actions were exposed, but when the police car approached, he found that the officer in the car was his good friend Casey. The two had been best friends since childhood and talked about everything. But because of work, Casey was transferred to another city and had only recently been transferred back. Seeing his friend, whom he hadn't seen for many years, Casey wanted to invite Teddy for a drink, but Teddy used work as an excuse, saying they would meet next time if there was a chance, and then rode away before Casey could speak. Crossing the street, Teddy arrived at the factory where he worked. As soon as he got to his station, he saw the news broadcasting a report about Michelle's disappearance.
On Monday afternoon, following what co-workers described as a routine workday, Oxalith Biomedical CEO Michelle Fuller got into her car. Given Fuller's wealth and high profile, state police are not ruling out the possibility that Fuller is being held for ransom.
Seeing that the police had no leads, Teddy felt a sense of pride. After a busy morning, he quickly finished today's work. Back home, Teddy couldn't wait to go to the basement. He picked up the recording device and listened to Michelle's recording. In the recording, Michelle admitted that she is an alien. She comes from the Andromeda Galaxy, 400 light-years away. Their civilization is called Andromedans, a highly developed, intelligent civilization, and the reason she came to Earth was just to live in harmony with humans. However, Teddy, hearing the recording, didn't believe it. He thought Michelle was here to invade Earth. He also demanded Michelle reveal where their mothership is and what the invasion plan is. But that recording just now was made up by Michelle. She had never thought about how to invade, let alone any mothership. Just as Michelle was thinking about how to round out the lie, Teddy suddenly got angry. Looking at the crazy Teddy, Michelle was completely dumbfounded. She could only change her story and say the alien army was still on the way. To soothe Teddy, she tried to conduct psychological counseling. In psychology, Teddy's condition is a personality disorder, accompanied by delusions. Michelle wanted to persuade Teddy to become a normal person again. However, facing Michelle's persuasion, Teddy interrupted her. He angrily picked up a stool. But just as he was about to smash it down, Teddy suddenly stopped. He only smashed the stool to pieces and threw it aside. Teddy gave Michelle a final ultimatum. If she didn't confess, he would really use torture methods. Looking at the crazy Teddy, Michelle also broke down. She directly asked Teddy how much money they wanted. She didn't have time to play games with the brothers. As long as they named a condition, she would definitely satisfy it.
Teddy, I'm sorry. You need help? You're mentally ill.
Everybody denies it at first.
Watching Teddy turn and leave, Michelle was completely confused. She had seen plenty of kidnappings, but this was the first time she met someone insisting she was an alien. Did Teddy want a spaceship? Back in the living room, Teddy convened a battle plan. He told Dawn that there is an Earth-like planet in the Andromeda Galaxy, 400 light-years away. As early as decades ago, the aliens on this planet were plotting to invade Earth. They are humanity's only hope and must not let the alien invasion succeed. They must figure out the aliens' plan within 48 hours. Otherwise, the aliens will know about Michelle's disappearance. But Michelle won't say anything, so how can they stop the invasion? After thinking about it, Teddy came up with a way. He told Dawn to act fiercer later, to make Michelle think they were going to get physical. As long as their acting was convincing enough, Michelle would be afraid. After adjusting their state, the brothers came to the basement again. Looking at the serious expressions of the two, Michelle was also unsure. To avoid being hurt, she could only admit again that she is an alien executing a plan to invade Earth. And their plan is very simple: to enslave humanity and turn all humans into tools for the Andromedans. However, hearing Michelle's invasion plan, Teddy still didn't believe it. He tied Michelle up and then took out an electric shock device from the corner. Seeing Teddy getting serious, Michelle completely panicked. In her terror, she spilled some intelligence. Their spaceship is behind the moon, and as long as she gives the order, the alien army will mobilize collectively to slaughter humans completely. She is the investigator sent by the aliens. Seeing Michelle confess, Dawn thought they had succeeded. However, Teddy still didn't stop his movements. He activated the switch, and a current instantly flowed into Michelle's body. Seeing that Michelle was about to pass out, Dawn hurriedly turned off the machine. Teddy, having calmed down, also felt that his behavior just now was a bit excessive. He took out pliers and cut Michelle's shackles. Teddy wanted Michelle to be an insider for humans and work with them to stop the alien invasion, and the tortured Michelle could only helplessly agree. To prevent other aliens lurking in the company from noticing, Teddy bought a wig for Michelle and got her some noodles. During the casual chat, Michelle asked Teddy how he discovered that aliens were going to invade Earth. Teddy stated his basis, and his basis was the decline of bees. Although bees seem weak in nature, they are the most important existence for Earth's ecology. Without bees, pollen cannot spread. Without bee pollination, plants cannot reproduce. Once plants start to die, animals will also be affected one after another, eventually triggering an ecological collapse. Hearing Teddy's analysis, Michelle also felt it made a lot of sense. During the chat, Dawn talked about their mother, Sandy, who had become a vegetable. Learning that Teddy's mother was the company's drug tester, Michelle finally realized why Teddy kidnapped her. As the chairman of the company, Michelle naturally knew about that accident. She wanted to explain to Teddy that Sandy didn't become a vegetable because there was a problem with the medicine, but due to other reasons. Michelle proposed that she could give more compensation, and the company was recently developing a new drug that might wake Sandy up. If Teddy needed it, she could apply to use it for Sandy. However, Michelle's proposal angered Teddy. He suddenly sprang up from the dining table and tackled her to the ground. Just as Michelle was about to suffocate, a police siren suddenly sounded outside. Teddy looked out and found it was Casey. He told Dawn to take Michelle to the basement while he opened the door. It turned out that because Michelle was missing, police stations across the city received a request for assistance, and Casey came to investigate. During the conversation, Teddy learned another piece of news. The police traced the trajectory of Michelle's car, which drove in this direction 2 days ago. Casey wanted to ask Teddy if any strangers had appeared in the community recently. Teddy pretended to recall and shook his head. He made an excuse that he needed to collect honey and tried to get Casey to ask other households. However, Casey proposed that he wanted to see the bee farm and buy some honey. Having no choice, Teddy had to take him up the mountain. In the basement, Michelle, who had been knocked out, woke up. Seeing Dawn staring at her, she realized her chance. She wanted Dawn to let her go. As a condition, she could guarantee his safety when the aliens invaded Earth. Dawn wanted to take his brother with him. He wanted a spaceship. Michelle agreed to his condition. However, just when she thought Dawn would open her handcuffs, unexpectedly, Dawn suddenly aimed a gun at himself. It turned out Dawn knew deep down he was a burden. If the aliens came, his brother not only wouldn't be able to take care of him, but Dawn would also become a drag on him. So Dawn decided that before the aliens killed him, he would kill himself. Hearing the gunshot, Teddy thought Michelle was resisting. To avoid exposing the secret, he picked up a pickaxe nearby and immediately smashed Casey to death. After eliminating Casey, Teddy rushed back to the basement. Seeing Dawn on the ground, he thought Michelle had killed his brother. Michelle wanted to explain, but Teddy, in a fit of rage, wouldn't listen at all. He picked up the shotgun from the ground and aimed the muzzle at Michelle's head. Just as Teddy was about to pull the trigger, Michelle spoke again about the new drug. She said the reason Sandy became a vegetable was that the drug was specially developed by aliens to deal with Earthlings. As long as Sandy takes the antidote, she can wake up. Learning that his mother could still wake up, Teddy hesitated. Seeing Teddy's expression, Michelle said the antidote was in a box in the trunk. As long as he injected the drug into Sandy, it would work. Although hesitant, Teddy couldn't let go of his mother. He found the yellow medicine bottle in the trunk according to Michelle's instructions. The moment he got the antidote, Teddy rushed to the hospital. He added the antidote to the IV drip, waiting for his mother to wake up. However, Sandy, who was injected with the antidote, showed no movement. Instead, the heart monitor turned into a flat line. Realizing he was deceived, Teddy left the hospital. He rushed towards home, wanting to kill Michelle. Meanwhile, Michelle, locked in the basement, used tools to open the hinge chaining her. However, just as she was about to escape, she looked back and saw that on the basement shelves, there were actually many human body parts soaking in jars. It turned out Michelle wasn't the first victim. In the past 10+ years, several people had been brutally killed by Teddy as suspected aliens. Just then, Teddy returned home. Just as he wanted to eliminate Michelle, Michelle told him that she really is an alien. And the reason why there is life on Earth is that they created it single-handedly. She came to Earth this time not to invade, but to modify a rage gene inside humans. As long as this gene can be removed, humanity can become a true civilization.
The early test humans could barely stand, but soon they walked and began to reproduce. Civilization was born in harmony with nature, but the new humans were also more aggressive, so a conflict broke out that eventually resulted in a thermonuclear war. And in the war's wake, all of humanity was extinguished, save for a select few who built an ark and traveled the oceans for a century. Evolution resumed, but toward chaos. The newly evolved human beings, your current ancestors, fought amongst themselves in an endless cycle of war.
If Teddy didn't believe it, he could go to the company with her. Their mothership is right in her office. To prove Michelle's words, Teddy and Michelle returned to the company. Arriving at the office, Michelle pointed to a wardrobe and told Teddy that it was the entrance to the mothership. He just had to walk in, and he would be instantly teleported to the ship. The naive Teddy believed Michelle's words. He really walked in. But the moment the cabinet door closed, an explosion occurred inside the wardrobe. Looking at Teddy, who was blown to death, Michelle also entered the wardrobe. The moment she entered, a red light lit up inside the wardrobe, and some strange red tissue appeared on top of her head. The next second, she arrived in a strange area. Two weirdly dressed figures pulled her up. It turns out Michelle really is an Andromedan. They came over this time not to invade Earth, but to exterminate humanity. The reason Andromedans want to do this is that in their past research, they found that humans are a savage civilization that is selfish and lacks a moral bottom line. If humans are allowed to develop, they will sooner or later bring trouble to the universe. Even though she doesn't know how Teddy discovered her, none of that matters anymore. In the past 10+ years, Michelle used the pharmaceutical company to implant a virus into human bodies. Their invasion plan is already complete. Determining there were no issues, Michelle came to an area. She gently waved the scepter in her hand, and a thin membrane over the earth was punctured. The moment the membrane broke, all 8 billion people in the world were killed.
Where have all the flowers gone?
That is the entire content of the latest 2025 disaster blockbuster, Bugonia. Overall, the quality of the movie is quite good, especially the final twist. At first, I thought Teddy was mentally ill, but I didn't expect the ending to be like this. So if Doomsday really comes, what would you guys want to do most? Alright, that's it for today. See you next time.